A discharge petition in the United States parliamentary procedure. A discharge petition is the means of bringing a bill out of the committee and to the floor for consideration without a report from the committee by discharging the committee from further consideration of a bill or resolution. Let's talk about what are the motivations for people and why they do the things that they do. Let's start this David Sirota thing off, and let's see what.
I think that would be a good thing. I've said that from the beginning. I don't think it's the only thing, and I think it's. Joins us. David is, of course, a well-known shill for Nancy Pelosi. But
they kind of are. They kind of are protecting Nancy Pelosi right now.
Other than that, he was the speechwriter and senior advisor to Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. How you square those two things, I'm not really sure. He's also the founder and editor of the Daily Poster.
All right, so what's the issue? Right now we're trying to force a vote. We're trying to force Nancy Pelosi to force the vote. And this is we the people pushing the progressives. We just saw Kathleen Rice. This is internal politics. Kathleen Rice threatened the Speaker of the House that she wouldn't vote for her, and then she got to be the chair of the Energy and Commerce Committee. So we've seen that the tactic that Jimmy Dore's talking about works. Kathleen Rice has already got a chair. Kathleen Rice, the neoliberal Democrats, the old Democrats, are already winning by using Jimmy Dore's tactics. So every second that we wait, we're just letting these fucking bastards do their shit behind the scenes. Nancy Pelosi fucked over AOC. Nancy Pelosi fucked over AOC, and yet people want to sit there and say Jimmy Dore is the problem.
David, as you well know, there's an ongoing discussion about forcing a vote on Medicare for All through blocking.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff there, Cenk. So, okay, Pramila Jayapal. So there's Bill H.R. 1384. Check it out. H.R. 1384. This is Pramila Jayapal. She's a Democrat out of Washington. So Pramila Jayapal's H.R. 1384. That's what we want, okay? We want Pramila Care, Jayapal Care. We want Pramila Care. So let's get Pramila Care up for a vote. Yes or no, Nancy Pelosi? And then people want to say, well, if it's not Nancy Pelosi, who are you going to pick? Hakeem Jeffries. We're going to pick Hakeem Jeffries. That's who we're going to pick, okay?
Blocking the speakership of Nancy Pelosi. So my first question to you is, how much have you been paid by Pelosi, Schumer, Soros, and Hugo Chavez? I mean, wait, Hugo wouldn't fit into that conspiracy.
Wait, why wouldn't Hugo fit into Soros and Pelosi? Because they're right-wingers, or because Hugo is so far out of the norm to his regular paymasters that also pay Pelosi?
To help block Medicare for All. I don't even know how to answer that question. I'll just be straight with you.
David Sirota, is a rhetorical question, so.
To do that, although I guess apparently there's wild speculation that anybody who.
Hey, David Sirota, I just want to ask you, did you know that the historical Young Turks murdered 1.2 to 1.5 million Armenians during World War I? Hey, David Sirota, did you know that the historical Young Turks murdered, slaughtered? They took the Armenians and just walked them out to the desert and murdered them. That's what the Young Turks did. They killed 1.5 million. 1.5 million Armenians. My God, the young Nazis, right? The young fucking Nazis here. So the young Nazis, I guess they're going to go ahead and get, who are they going to get to run the young Nazis? Jon Stewart?
Who raises any questions about any particular Medicare for All tactic, it must mean they're working for Nancy Pelosi's Wall Street-funded super PAC. But in all seriousness, look, there's been a conversation about what are the best tactics to force a conversation and force votes and force progress towards the government guaranteeing health care for all. And I think, frankly, getting a floor vote on the floor of the House would be helpful. I think that would be a good thing. I've said that from the beginning. I don't think it's the only thing, and I think it's debatable whether it's even the most important thing.
Okay, so you heard those two questions, right? I don't know if it's the only thing, and then I'm not sure if it's the most important thing. David Sirota doesn't say anything that's more important. So, David Sirota, what's more important, okay? You haven't said anything yet. He went ahead and pitched 5 ideas. Fire Richard Neal, good idea. Fuck that Richard Neal up, right? Get the fuck out of here, Richard Neal. How did Richard Neal ever get to work in Washington to begin with? And then he also suggested that Ro Khanna state option. We can get the states to, get their own Medicare for all. Colorado is actually on the cusp of getting our own single payer here. We just got family leave. The governor promised me single payer in Pueblo, so I'm expecting that to get done. But David Sirota also said that let's, force Joe Biden to, by executive order, expand Medicare. Joe Biden ain't going to do shit with the, executive orders. Get the legislation from the thing to pass it to expand Medicare. Why are we just expanding Medicare? Let's get a public option and get everybody covered. Bad idea, number 3. Number 4. David Sirota wants to just get a commission at the end of the year so we can just talk about it at the end of the year, just Medicare for all every year. We kind of just get together, talk about, never do shit. And then number 5, he wanted to just get a discharge petition and just to put the Medicare for all vote right there on the floor. I don't know what the difference between a discharge petition is and a regular fucking vote. Either way it goes, it just seems like discharge petition, you had Mondale Robinson from Ben Dixon's Trap Squad sit there and say that because he knows what a discharge petition is, that's why he's smarter than you. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Just shut the fuck up. They're being arrogant. They're being obnoxious. They're being elitist. They say they're smarter and better, and they know what the fuck is going on. So I don't trust David Sirota at all. I mean, just what he said. There's other ideas, and I'm not sure if it's the best idea. David Sirota is poking as many fucking holes into Jimmy Dore's force the vote idea. Jimmy Dore wants to put pressure on Nancy Pelosi. There's a vote coming up for Nancy Pelosi to be the Speaker of the House. Jimmy Dore says if she does not accept Pramila Jayapal's H.R. 1384, universal health care, if Nancy Pelosi will not put H.R. 1384 up on the docket for an up or down vote, then we withhold our vote from Nancy Pelosi, and then we get somebody else in there, preferably Hakeem Jeffries. Who is Hakeem Jeffries? He's a good compromise candidate. So the Speaker must, and only the Speaker can, bring the bill out of committee. And since Nancy Pelosi won't let H.R. 1384 out of committee, why can't she? Does Nancy Pelosi know about the discharge petitions? That's all you got to do, Nancy Pelosi. Fill out a discharge petition. Just fill out a discharge petition and get H.R. 1384 voted on. Yes or no? What the fuck is your problem? I definitely question the motives of David Sirota. You're goddamn right.
There's a number of things that need to be done that haven't been done that Democrats in the Congress can use their leverage to actually do. And I think that we, as a progressive movement, should be able to have a conversation about different strategies and tactics without saying that if you disagree with me on a particular strategy or you have an amendment to a particular strategy, we should be able to have that conversation without me then accusing you of being a shill for the health.
Oh, nice David Sirota. Look at nice, gentle David Sirota. All he is doing is poking a million holes into it. Listen to everybody in the Jacobin, everybody that works under these motherfuckers, Cenk or David Sirota, anybody that works for these assholes are saying the same dumb shit. They're exposing themselves. David Sirota is not a progressive, and he is very much a petty bitch. You don't think David Sirota is a petty bitch? All I did was ask David Sirota a question. Hey, David Sirota, why are you a petty bitch? I asked him, why don't you just go to Jimmy Dore's show, and then Jimmy Dore just listen for an hour or some shit. And then I also told him that, hey, man, keep your head up. Don't you worry about this. You'll be stronger at the end of the day. So I give him some inspiring words. I suggested a fucking idea that he could do, and then he wants to block me on Twitter. I bet you he don't know Johnny Masters. At Johnny Masters is the handle. So if you don't believe that David Sirota is a petty bitch, go ask him. Ask him, why did you block Johnny Masters? And when he doesn't have a fucking reason, he can kiss my fucking ass. Fuck him. Sitting there treat me like I'm just trolling the shit out of him when all I did was just tag him on 2 fucking things. David Sirota wants respect. Hey, all I did was just ask a question to Jimmy and then he lost his fucking mind. That's all I fucking did, David Sirota, was ask you a goddamn question and you lost your fucking mind, fucking censoring motherfucker. I don't trust David Sirota's motivations because he had tweeted, that tweet he sent out, "You're not the hero, Jimmy Dore." I'm paraphrasing, but you're not the hero. Why isn't Jimmy Dore the hero? Right now, he is the man of the hour right now, so who the fuck is David Sirota? You're not the hero here. Yes, he is, you stupid fuck, but that just tells me he just wants the limelight. He just wants the credit, right? Jimmy Dore thunk up a thought, and David Sirota can't fucking handle it. And you know what? I just saw Jimmy Dore tell Cenk, Uygur, go ahead and take it. Take it. You could say you come up with the idea. You know, I just want to get Medicare for all, for everybody. These motherfuckers are sitting there fighting over credit and fighting over the space and this. They're all a bunch of fucking right-wing, fascist, capitalist sons of bitches. And you know, they've been in the game for so long, they don't realize they fucking lost themselves in their I don't give a shit. I used to have so much respect for David Sirota. Now I don't give a flying fuck for him whatsoever. You're not the hero here. David Sirota, you've been working on this for 26 years. You've never been the hero in 26 years? Jesus Christ. What are we going to fucking nominate him King of the Progressives for being a failure for a quarter of a century? David Sirota, go work for the Republicans. Maybe we should get David Sirota to try to get us into wars and try to, get the Patriot Act reauthorized. That's what David Sirota should do since we get the exact opposite of anything he does.
Health insurance companies, or a shill for the drug companies, or a stealth lobbyist for Nancy Pelosi's super PAC.
Yeah, well, you see, it's actually more absurd than that because, look, there are some bad actors in Washington, D.C. So the campaign donations are, in essence, legalized bribes. So we're kind of stuck in the middle here, David. The mainstream media will not acknowledge obvious things about how wrong this system is. And on the other hand, we now have some folks who are kind of on the left, maybe on the left, I can't quite tell, saying that anyone who disagrees with their particular tactics are also working for Raytheon and Pfizer.
Kathleen Rice proves the point that Jimmy Dore's tactic is right and proper and decent, and the longer that you keep pushing this fucking down, I don't know what the hell is going on. This is absolutely, I'm a little shaken. It was like when, Noam Chomsky said something wrong. Ben Dixon, he's going around saying, Jimmy Dore, this white motherfucker's got the space. So he's being racist as shit. Okay, fantastic, right? And then push Jimmy out of the paint and burn everything down. He's the sun god of the planet Zenus, and he'll be goddamned if he's going to see the moon to the land of the 4,000 wolves. Ben Dixon's a little crazy. Ben Dixon's a little out of his mind. Ben Dixon isn't pushing for concrete results, and he's being exposed. He's being unmasked. You know what Ben Dixon needs to do? Just walk outside, go pick up some litter at the park and say, look, I actually did some good for the community. Actually get concrete results. Good, you can record shit. You can talk all your shit. You got, you know how to do the TV and the YouTube thing. Can you change society? Can you make the world a better place now?
Et cetera, right? And so, but in this case, it's more absurd because I don't know anyone who's been fighting for Medicare for all more than you have. And not only that, but you've exposed Nancy Pelosi's step.
So David Sirota is sitting there telling Jimmy Dore, you're not the hero, but Cenk Uygur was like, hey, David, you are the hero. You're the hero, man. Please keep coming on my show so I can keep on selling tickets and just make $1 million fucking dollars. I don't know how YouTube works, is it? You pay for tickets, right?
Staff and their connections. You, Ryan Grimm, David Day, and these are among the, I would say, the very top journalists in the country who've exposed all that's wrong with Democratic leadership. So this debate has spiraled in an unproductive and crazy direction. But now the real reason for this conversation is to get into the details and into strategy and see how we really can do things. And you and I might disagree on some of the particulars, but let's have that conversation. So first of all, let me start bringing it down one by one. Let's talk about...
So he wants to do the, commission at the end of the year. Stupid idea, David Sirota. Why would you want to do that? And then you're going to make Joe Biden, do an executive order to expand Medicare. He's not going to do executive orders, and why not get the public option? Why just expand Medicare? Why not get a public option? Goddamn David Sirota. Your fucking ideas are stupid. Your fucking ideas are dumb. I just ask a fucking question here. Discharge petition? This motherfucker's muddying the waters. That's all this motherfucker is doing. And then when he said, you're not the hero, David Sirota is not the hero. David Sirota is not the hero. They want to sit there and say that Jimmy Dore's brand is anti-AOC. Well, David Sirota's and Cenk Uygur and Sam Cedar's brand is anti-Jimmy Dore. That's their whole fucking brand. We're like, oh shit, just shitting on Jimmy Dore. We're not raking all the money we want to rake in like we... Hassan Abi, Ben Burgess, David Pakman, Eric Levitz, Farron Cousins, lots of motherfuckers are just dishonest. They're not progressive. They're not pushing for Medicare for all. They don't care if real change happens in America. They just want you to watch their stuff, click on their stuff, tell them how smart they are. But real fucking change, the Humanist Report, David Dole is just begging to get out of David Dole don't want to be the rational national no more. He just wants to be the national.
What about the vote in terms of the speakership? So let's just go through the logic of it, if we can, if people still care about that. So if Nancy Pelosi...
Look at all these dumbass pop shots that people used to care. Let's go through the logic of it. The logic of getting Pramila, HR 1384. Fuck your discharge petition, motherfuckers. I want HR 1384. I want Pramila Jayapal's HR 1384 put up for a vote. And if Nancy Pelosi doesn't put up Pramila's HR 1384 up for a vote, then we get Hakeem Jeffries. We elect Hakeem Jeffries to be the Speaker of the House. He seems all right, seems good enough. Doesn't fucking really matter who the next person is. Get Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker.
So the idea here for hashtag force the vote is, if we can get enough progressives in Congress, and there are enough progressives in Congress, barely, but I think there is, to vote against Nancy Pelosi, then we could force her to give us a concession. The concession would be a Medicare for All vote. So now, let's start with, is that possible?
Okay, that's you're just taking too long. So the Popo, I had a police brutality incident that happened in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was trying to sue the cops, and I was trying to get media attention, and I was basically taking on the goddamn system single-handedly, and I needed some help. I needed somebody to, and the Young Turks did all these, things about the police brutality. I tried tweeting them. I tried to get a hold of them. I emailed them a couple times, and it was just like, fuck. It's like I got to beg these motherfuckers to say, hey, whatever. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. They didn't care for concrete change. They didn't give a shit if the people in the streets and the people out in the world that they're talking to actually have better lives. They don't really give a shit about, Medicare for all for the poor kids. They don't give a shit if you and I do okay.
That you could block Pelosi thing. And let me acknowledge my mistake in the middle of the question. I said that they'd have to vote for McCarthy in order to really have leverage, but that's not true, right, David? They could actually abstain, and what would happen if they abstain?
Well, the speaker is elected by the majority.
Yeah, that was real nice, David Sirota. So Vosh is a piece of shit, right? Vosh is a piece of shit, but you have Max Kaiser, Stacey Hebert, and Cody Johnston, who's completely silent. They're not saying shit. What was Martin Luther King's quote? It's not the words of your enemies that you remember on your deathbed, but the silence of your friends. Where the fuck are you, Max Kaiser, Stacey Hebert, Cody Johnston? And then we got, the Humanist Report and David Dole. They're on the right side, and yet they're sitting there talking shit. I quit following, the Humanist Report and David Dole on Twitter. Why the fuck would I give a shit what the fuck they got to say? Who gives a shit about the fucking Humanist Report and David Dole? How long you assholes been in this game? Y'all ain't changing nothing. They can't wait to get part of the elites, right? They can't wait to just move on up, right? The mothership is picking David Dole up. This ain't about David Dole. How did I get here?
Go to the House. And essentially they keep voting until there is a majority candidate. I think once on the first ballot, if they abstained, it would go to a second ballot and a third ballot, and on until there was a candidate who could get a majority. Now, I think the fear of Kevin McCarthy is a fear of the right wing of the Democratic Party. And look, I lived in Montana as one example. When the Democrats won the state legislature there, they won the state house.
All right, so we're not really getting anywhere with David Sirota. They're just both of these assholes don't trust David Sirota and don't trust Cenk Uygur. This was a fascinating conversation. So he was right. I did find this to be a lot of fun. Big Dixon says, fuck Jimmy Dore. He's a white, washed-up comedian. That white, washed-up comedian like David Sirota, white like David Sirota, white like Farron Cousins, white like David Pacman and Eric Levitz and Hassan Abi, white like Ben Burgess, white like Josh Fox. Is that what you're talking about? And so why would Emma Vigilant, not only does she oppose Jimmy Dore, but she opposes the idea of putting pressure on Nancy Pelosi for force to vote, for H.R. 1384. She's against the tactic. Kathleen Rice showed us that the tactic works. Kathleen Rice used Jimmy Dore's tactic and got the chair on the Energy and Commerce Committee. She used the tactic. That's the tactic they're using. So why would Emma Vigilant ignore the facts, ignore the evidence? This is the beginning of the conversation. If we're not going to push for Medicare for all, what the fuck are we even pushing for? What the fuck is Emma Vigilant? What does she expect out of this president and this Congress? Anything at all? Because I don't expect a goddamn fucking thing. I bet you the shitty fucking nation that this could carry on. I bet you the shittiness will continue to be shitty, and it might even get shittier, and then we'll get a worse Trump in 4 fucking years. I don't know why they would do this. Maybe the algorithm and, infighting and shit, it's good for ratings, right? It's good TV. Maybe Cenk is just playing all of us, saying all this dumb, crazy shit, so eventually we have to convince him, right? Eventually, after a week, they get all this headlines, and then he'll say, okay, I'm for it now. And then we get it right after we beat the shit out of each other. And now, David Pacman, Farron Cousins, Eric Levitz, Josh Fox, Hassan Abi, Ben Burgess, Jamie Elizabeth. It's like there's no white male progressives in Congress. All the white male progressives are on YouTube, right? No white male, there's only one white female that's in Congress. That's a progressive. All the progressives are people of color, black or brown. How come there's no white progressives in fucking Congress? All the white progressives are, fucking around on YouTube. Fucking David Sirota. I know what you're all about, David Sirota. They want to stop the change. They want to be the person that comes up with all the ideas that everybody, they want to be the Walter Cronkite. They're authoritarian, and they act like they can dictate the narrative to the rest of us. But I don't want to be dictated to. I don't want to be gaslit. I want a media that actually gives a goddamn fuck about me and you. Peace, love, justice. Freedom, concrete ends, concrete changes. We're progressives here, meaning we progress towards a future. We progress towards, progress. We want to get, we want progress. We want to go forward. I don't want to regress. I don't want to go backwards. So we have an opportunity to do something. We're trying to save America and the Democratic Party here. You should fucking listen. I'll give you the last word.
In which the State House ended up electing a Republican speaker of a Democratic House, because the right wing of the Democratic Party forged a coalition with a Republican speaker. So that's one probably remote